Aviation Service Bulletin is an approved document with detailed instructions about how to perform an inspection, replacement, or a modification. In summary, it is an executing document issued for operators by the aircraft or engine or component manufacturer. Let's look at how they are classified. Based on the nature of scope of the service bulletin, it can be an inspection service bulletin or a modification service bulletin or a combination of both, based on the work scope classified as inspection SB or a modification SB. Now, based on issue, a service bulletin can be issued by an aircraft or engine manufacturer such as Airbus, Boeing, etc., or issued by a component manufacturer, based on issuer classified as airframer SB, engine SB, or vendor SB. Now, based on compliance classification, service bulletins can be either allowed to be embodied at operator's discretion or forced to accomplish within a specified timeline. Based on compliance, service bulletins can be either optional or mandatory. Let's look at why service bulletins are issued in aviation. We need to understand first the continuous airworthiness. When the aircraft engine system or component is designed and tested initially, they satisfy the certification and regulatory requirements and are accepted. However, during day-to-day operations, they can repetitively fail and show evidence that the failure can potentially affect the safety margins. Hence, the aircraft, engine and components must be carefully monitored for repetitive defects and failures. History of defects and failures must be reported by operators to the manufacturers of aircraft, engine or components. For example, operators A, B, C and D who operate Airbus A320 aircraft report an angle of attack sensor defect to Airbus. When the same defect or failure is reported by multiple operators to the manufacturers, they will analyze the nature of defects as well as its degree to compromise the safety. In our example, Airbus analyzes the angle of attack sensor failures and issues a service bulletin for all operators of A320 to perform a repetitive inspection of AOA sensor every 1,000 hours. After the manufacturers analyze the defect reported by multiple operators and issuance of service bulletin, they must inform the authority of the state of design. In the case of Airbus, they will inform European Aviation Safety Agency, EASA. In our example, when the AOA sensor defect is reported to European Aviation Safety Agency by Airbus, they will further analyze the nature of defect and its relevance to the originally certified safety envelope. When European Aviation Safety Agency finds that the AOA sensor defect can compromise the safety, an airworthiness directive is issued for inspection as per the SB issued by Airbus. The AD will direct operators to perform the service bulletin with an effective date and compliance date. The compliance to airworthiness directive is mandatory. If the AD is not complied with within the specified timeline, the aircraft is considered unairworthy, which will result in grounding an aircraft. The service bulletin and airworthiness directive are the result of continuous airworthiness when the aircraft, engine or component. Do we have to comply with all service bulletins? As we have seen earlier in this video, operators don't have to embody all the service bulletins. Let's look at the different SBs with a bit more detail. Optional service bulletins. This optional aviation service bulletins are issued to improve operational reliability, product improvement, obsolescence, etc. Normally, compliance section of this SB states as operator's discretion. Hence, operators are not obliged to incorporate optional service bulletins. Now let's look at mandatory alert, special attention service bulletins. These aviation service bulletins are issued when a potential safety concern is identified on the aircraft or engines or components installed. Normally, the compliance section states as mandatory and sometimes potential AD. If only the SB is issued and there is no airworthiness directive issued to mandate the service bulletin, then incorporating the SB is not yet mandatory. However, national aviation authorities may force regional operators to incorporate the mandatory service bulletins to ensure continuous airworthiness. In reality, the service bulletins that are mandated by airworthiness directives are the only service bulletins that need to be incorporated by operators to ensure compliance.